Okay, excuse me, we're gonna start the meeting. If everybody just hold their comments until necessary. Welcome to the Franklin Planning Board.
Yeah, it's, I don't know what's going on with my laptop. I had myself muted, but. I can get off. Okay, give that a try.
We try it again?
I'm gonna just jump off. Okay.
Good? Okay. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the August 25th, 2025 Franklin Planning Board. This is audio and video recorded, as well as on Zoom. The Zoom call-in number is 312-626-6799 with a meeting number of 81-669-193330. Our first item of business, we're going to take care of some general business first. This would be for an endorsement for 800 Chestnut Street. If I could go to Amy, the Department of Planning, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the planning board approved this site plan on July 28th, 2025. It was for a parking lot expansion. They've added the certificate of vote to the site plans, and they're looking for endorsement.
Okay. Rest of the board, everybody's comfortable? Yeah? Okay. Make a motion to endorse 800 Chestnut Street. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And next item of business under general business, this would be a partial Form H for 160 Grove Street. If I could go to Amy at Department of Planning, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this is a long-going project. It was approved back in August 10, 2020. It is a phased project where they constructed half of the building and they have the foundation in the second half of the building. Beta's been out there. They have been doing their observation reports and have submitted a letter to the board. They're hoping to get some occupancy so they can get in the building and start utilizing the building.
Okay, good. Before I go to the board, can I, is Matt online or Gary, you gonna cover for Matt?
No, I think Matt's online, isn't he?
Yes, he is. He's got his hand, Matt has his hands raised.
Matt, can you hear me?
Let's see if I can do this. Just have to give him a loud call. There he is. Okay. Yep. Okay. Oops.
Okay,
There you go.
okay, great. Me.
Hi, Matt.
Hello.
How are you?
All right, I don't know if there's any video for me right now, but that's okay. So yes, I'd say over the past months to a year, we've been working closely with the contractor and the applicant's representative out there to do periodic site visits. Really, over the past couple of months, let's see.
Matt,
He's gone.
I seem to have lost you.
Matt, we lost you.
There he is, he's back.
Oh,
There he is.
Matt, if you can hear us, you're muted.
He muted himself.
Matt, unmute yourself.
I don't think you can.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
What? Oh, right.
Okay, are we good now?
Yep,
Yeah, we're
there we
good.
go.
We're good.
Thank you.
All right.
Don't
so
leave.
When I got promoted to panelist for the video, it cut me off for a second, and then it only would allow the host to unmute me. I couldn't unmute myself.
Okay.
It's a newer
I
system.
did hear what you were saying. So I believe you heard me start on the discussion, but in summary, we've been working with the contractor and the applicant. We've been out there a number of times, really over the past month. They were just doing some final punch list type items, including top course pavement, getting the striping on there. things of that nature. So as Amy mentioned, only a portion of the grow warehouse has been constructed. One of the things that we noted, they didn't install all the car stops out there. The contractor indicated there's a shortage of those right now, but we did note that those are in the areas that are not adjacent to a building at this time, so it's not a safety issue at this time. When the full building is constructed, I presume they'll install those and it should be all set. Typically, the as-built isn't required at the time of the partial Form H. They did provide one. We provided a few comments to them, including adding the contours on there, as well as the volumes of the stormwater pond on there. But that's a future requirement, just for the notation at this time. So otherwise, we don't have any comments on the site.
Okay, thank you, Matt. I'll go to Mike. Mike, are you all set with what's presented for partial for us?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, Peter's been out there during construction, monitoring construction. We've been working with the applicant during construction for the construction of the sewer gravity main that was in the roadway that was done about a couple of years ago. And we've been working, our sewer department's been working with them with the flow meter controls for the sewer itself. So, we've been satisfied with everything.
Okay, good. Go to the board. Anybody have any questions or comments? I'll start with Mark. Mark, any comments, questions?
I have no comments, Mr. Chairman.
Chris?
Nothing, Mr. Chairman, thank you. Zero.
Okay. I just had one quick question. Based on the partial, is there enough parking for the building that is going to be occupied right now? I know there was a large parcel of parking in the rear of the site.
Yeah, that's been fully constructed.
Okay, so there's
All
sufficient...
the parking, the entire site's been constructed with parking.
Okay,
Yep.
okay, all right. Apologize, I didn't catch that. All right. Applicant here, or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you just want to just introduce yourself for the record, please.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Dave Chaplinsky from Hennep
Okay.
Property.
Okay, good, thank you. So,
Make a motion to approve the form partial, right?
Yep.
Partial Form H for 160 Grove Street.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You're all set, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our next item of business, this would be for Panther Way Senior Village, special permit site plan application. Understand they're looking for continuation?
I believe so. I know Rick's here. I didn't
Rick,
get a
if you would
final
just
on it,
come up.
but I do believe that the information kind of came in late last week, and I know that they're still working with Beta on some of the stormwater issues that they weren't really ready to talk about tonight.
Okay.
Yes, so we have requested a continuance to your next meeting in hopes that we have another review completed by Beta and the engineering department as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
That give you enough time for next meeting between you and Gary to get everything?
We've done our part, now we're just waiting for the review comments, but I think we'll be close.
Okay. All right. So make a motion to continue to Amy,
September 8th.
September 8th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Rick. Okay, our next item of business, this would be for 60 Earls Way. This is a site plan application. If I could go to Amy at the Department of Planning, please, for review.
Sure, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So at the last meeting, they were here, I think, over a month ago, July 28th. There was just a few items that were kind of outstanding that the board had asked them to provide, one of them being the retaining wall, bringing some of the catch basins into compliance at the existing site, and an easement agreement with the abutting property at 80 Earls Way, which all those things have been provided by the applicant. Note that there are the 4 waivers I've listed in my memo that they have requested. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Before I go to the board, can I go to Mike, DPW? Mike, are you comfortable with all the changes and everything made?
Yes, Mr. Coleman, our only other comment had to do with the grading easement that was being proposed. We just wanted to see some documentation from the neighbor, which I believe has been submitted, so.
Yeah, we have documentation,
Yeah,
yep.
so, that was the only outstanding thing.
Okay. And before I go to Gary, if I could just have yourselves introduce yourselves for the record, please.
Richard Cornetta, the attorney for the applicant, and joined by Rick Goodrow of United Consultants.
Good, thank you. And Gary, I know you did this site?
I don't have any additional comments beyond what was discussed the last meeting.
Okay, good. I'll go to the board. Anybody have any comments or questions? Mark?
No comments.
No? Chris?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to note, I'd asked about additional screening for that overhead door going out, and it looks like the landscaping plan that's been satisfied to my request, so thank you very much.
Jay?
Just one on my part, so I'm happy to see such a nice, robust design plan for this wall submitted to us. This is great to be in the record. Thank you,
like that.
gentlemen. I genuinely appreciate that.
We all do.
Hey, it's just the right way you get a wall plan. That's what it's supposed to look.
Yep.
No further
Nothing?
comments.
Okay. I just want to just make a comment about that, too. I just want to make sure the wall design is incorporated within the site plan application. That way there, when Beta goes out to review, this is part of what we're trying to compile as part of our site plan packages, as you know.
Sure, we can have that available for endorsement for the board if in the site plan package.
That'd be great, because
Okay.
they did good, nice job on it. What's that? Yeah, yep. No, I want it as a package, that's all. Okay. so
Mr. Chairman, I
Nick?
make a motion to close the public hearing.
Yep.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion to vote on the 4 waivers requested to allow less than 42 inches of cover with RCP drain pipe, proposed class 5 RCP, and to allow the, or do you want to vote on that one first?
No, we'll vote on all four
Okay.
if you want.
To allow the use of SDR 35 PVCE pipe for the roof drain collection system, and to allow the use of HDPE pipe for the manifolds and infiltration pond 1, pond 2, and pond 3, and to allow minimal light spillage onto Earl's Way right away.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion to approve 60 Earl's Way.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
You're all
Thank you
set.
very
Thank
much.
you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you for taking care of all those stuff, boys. Okay. Our next item of business, this is for a continuation of 380 King Street. This is a site plan application. If I could go to Amy for a brief review, please.
Sure, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So last time they were in front of us was June 30th. I think they were scheduled for our last meeting that ended up getting canceled, so sorry for that delay. Couple comments from the last one. The plan, this meeting, they've only submitted the traffic flow through that. They're still working through stormwater, so we don't have any stormwater updates right now. So I
Okay.
just want to make note of that. That mainly is the plans that you see in front of you is more so for the flow of the traffic from the abuttant properties through it. I do believe they also were able to add some parking by closing out their entrance, their existing curb cut that they have at the site. So mainly that's the discussion. I just kind of made some notes about if the board was comfortable with the, you mentioned a 2-story building, however, they did agree to a 3-story building with the abutters, providing snow storage, which they have. And if there's gonna be any signage on the property, I don't know, given it's, a lot of the apartment or condos always have a sign notifying their place. So those were my comments for tonight.
Okay. good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Before I go to anybody else, if I could just go to the applicant and his team for introduction, please.
Sure, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Edward Cannon, counsel, Pat Marguerite representing the ownership, and Joe Mallow from Narragansett Engineering.
Okay, good, thank you. Maybe we'll go to you guys first. If you want to give us a brief review on the new traffic layout, if that would be beneficial for the board and the audience.
Sure, so right off the bat, a couple things. So first off, we recognize that Beta hasn't had a chance to comment on any of what we'll talk about tonight, but there were a lot of comments from the board, not only about traffic circulation, but about the entryway, about how the front facade looked, about green space. So there were a number of comments about the site plan itself, which we've tried to address. So we would like to sort of take the board through some of those edits. I would like to take a moment to mention, while we have a public forum, that Pat Marguerite just got an email recently that was claiming to be from the town, asking him to wire $9,000 to the town.
We've addressed that. It's a
yeah.
spam.
Okay, yeah.
There's over 50 communities in the state that have gotten the same thing. with
Totally.
their
I just, because there's a number of people tuning in, I just wanted people to be aware of that in
Yeah.
case. And it looks very official. It's pretty impressive, so.
And Mr.
anyway.
Marguerite did call me. I didn't
Yeah.
get a chance to speak to him, but I did call him back anyway. I did respond to Amy, but she told me what happened.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we just thought that if we put it out there in public, someone might catch it and
Yep.
not get caught.
We were not
If-
aware of it,
Oh,
but
right.
Amy did tell us that
I'm
it's.
sure.
If I may just say anything, since Mr. Cannon did address this, is that if there's any concern of any fees that have been asked from the town or planning board or anyone, feel free to call. Feel
Yeah.
free to contact us directly if you're unsure about anything.
And that's what we did do.
You did, and I'm
It
glad
looked so
I'm glad that you
official.
did.
It did look very official, and I think it was signed by you.
It's all, but we don't send out, I did see the letter, we don't take wire, and we don't send out the list of fees like that, so, but if anyone out there or anybody's listening and they have a concern about any fees they receive from the town, please just call the town directly, come in, and we can most certainly be more than happy to sit down and take a look at them to
Yeah.
make sure it's legit and not a spam.
Nothing comes from this board, look for any kind of fees or anything of such, just, you did the right thing, thank God.
Yeah, thank you. Just by way of procedure, the applicant is before design review. Tomorrow night, fingers crossed, may be the last appearance have been before them previously, so that is ongoing. So if I may, Mr. Chairman, through you, ask Joe Mallow to sort of take the board through some of the changes.
Sure, please, thank you.
Thanks, Joe Malo with Narragansett Engineering. Amy, are we able to, is this, can you guys see the screen?
Do you have a presentation on there now?
I was just gonna share the site plan, oh, there it
Okay.
is. Oh, maybe it's just.
Oh, no, I got the screen down, and. No, Amy,
No.
Yeah, it popped, it just popped.
Oh,
It
okay,
didn't-
okay, that's what.
Yeah, sorry, I wiggled the
Alright, I
cord, now
wasn't-
it popped
okay,
up.
that's fine.
So I'm not sure if you guys can see
Yeah,
that.
we can
but-
see.
So we just going back, we tried to take in a lot of the comments. You guys had some great comments and concerns. So we kind of went back to the drawing board and made some changes that we think is, you know, a lot better. It's a more beneficial, safer plan for the residents. So, you know, the first thing is we closed off the main entrance into the subject parcel from King Street. And then we provided traffic calming devices throughout the site, including speed humps and stop signs. I'll go through the locations of those on the circulation plan. So with closing up the entrance, we moved a couple parking spaces closer along King Street, and then we have a broader, larger landscaped area that we can get some more trees and make you know, a prettier, lack of a better word, streetscape. And then with that, we incorporated a crosswalk and an extension of the sidewalk from King Street. So when we closed up that, we relocated a couple of the parking spaces down along King Street, and then got rid of some of the parking spaces up on the south side at the end of that, what we're calling the, you know, the side yard. And then we're planning on installing a retaining wall so we can get rid of that grading issue that we had that made it look like a drainage channel. So now that it's less than 2%, which is kind of the minimum just to get water to run out of that. There is still a catch basin there. That's just to make sure, sorry, I keep tapping the moat. Make sure we don't have any ponding back there. So we increased the landscaped area. We rotated the dumpster in the southeast corner, closing off that access to lot 41. Again, kind of disconnecting the site so it's not a full loop through, cut through. And the nice thing about that is when we relocated the dumpster, we put a little retaining wall, so we raised the whole grade in that spot. So one of Beta's comments was it was a little steeper back there. It was kind of at the top edge of what's comfortable for the parking. So we have reduced that, so, and increased the landscape area. So now we have 3 additional snow storage areas on this parcel, just to make it more standalone. And then in addition with that, we included 2 sections of bike racks. One set of 4, we eliminated 1 parking space and put a set of 4 bike racks, and then another set of 2 closer to the building, just in case, you know, if they're riding to and from the building. With that, we had the conversation about more green space, less parking, so we eliminated just 1 parking space. So the parking table shows that there's 59 spaces and not the required 60. But we do have a land bank space, which I show as a dashed line, so, you know, we have that capability to get that last spot, so there wouldn't be a variance or a waiver required for that if that was not the option we wanted to go. I think those are the major site changes. Yeah, we talked about the dumpster, we closed, yeah, closing off the lot 41. And then the other thing we added was the overview of the all 4 lots. So this is kind of showing just the circulation of how the 4 lots currently work, and then how it would work with the new proposed site. So one of the things too, you know, just to slow the traffic around the residential use, is we have speed humps on either entrance on the north side closest to King Street. So there's a speed bump to lot 41 and then also to lot 43. And like I said, we closed the southeastern connection where we relocated the dumpster, and then the other entrance coming from King Street Cafe, we have a speed hump when you are leaving King Street, and then we have a stop sign and a stop bar before you actually enter the parcel. Just really trying to calm using traffic calming measures to make it a safer environment. And I think, just as far as stormwater, I know that we had some comments on the previous design with Beta, but overall, we believe that the stormwater is still going to work in the same function because it's actually an increase in landscaped areas, so the design that we had before, but we kind of just wanted to get the board's feelings before we finalized all the final drainage design.
Okay. Good. Thank you.
The streetscape?
Well, yeah, could you?
The streetscape, yep. Sorry, one more.
Let's go one more slide.
Just a separate PDF.
Yeah, the board had asked for a sort of a front view of what this would look like in comparison to the other buildings, and we have that for,
So this here is just showing the 3 existing buildings. And just relative for the proposed building. So a little tough to see here, but essentially the peak of the proposed building would be a little bit less than the pergola of King Street Cafe. So, you know, I think as scale goes, it kind of blends in with the whole streetscape there, and it's not one, you know, over-towering building that it doesn't, you know, it looks like it belongs in the proposed condition. And then we have an updated elevation as well.
and then there was a comment about trying to make the side that faces King Street look less like a side and more like a front, and that's been redesigned as well. And that's something, again, they're ironing out with design review.
And you're in front of them tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night.
Yes. So I think the color scheme changed just to the light blues and grays, and then updated the front or the side elevation that faces King Street, which you can see here down at the bottom.
Okay, good.
So glad to answer any
Okay.
questions on the,
Yep, I'm gonna go to Amy. She has.
Yep, just so I should have noted earlier, I do want to let you know that Dennis from Beta for traffic flow is available on Zoom right now if the
Okay.
board did want to refer to him and get any comments. Other than that, I defer it to you.
Yeah, I'd
Mr.
like to hear
Chairman.
what Dennis has to say. Dennis, Dennis, you there?
Oh, I just lost him. Oh, there he is. He's there.
I am. Can everyone hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Good evening, thank you, yes, and thank you for the applicant for walking through. Just, we've had a chance to do sort of an initial, just observation or review of this. Just sort of a couple things to note at this point.
Sure.
If that driveway, as shown there for 380 King Street is to be closed, you'll notice there is on King Street adjacent a left turn lane now.
Yep.
I assume that's, I'm not sure if apologize if I'm bringing up stuff that's already been discussed. There will need to be some consideration regarding that, whether that gets restriped, gets closed, the left turn lane down, extending back from the intersection at Union Street would just get extended. Just some things, just one thing to be mindful of. That obviously that is not a left turn lane would be into nothing.
Nothing, yep. Yep, so we would, it's something that we realized, I think actually a conversation that we would want to have with the town on whether we want to leave it as is and then restripe and just make a larger left turning lane, or like you said, we can just restripe that and close that up entirely. So something that, it's not shown on this the circulation plan, but it's something that it's on our list, and it's not something that we forgot about.
Okay.
More just open for discussion on that.
Sure. The one other thing I wanted to mention is, one thing to be mindful of in terms of the town's, roadways, in this case King Street, is all the traffic accessing lots 43 and 42 will be going through a single driveway now. That is also going to be in a lane that is dedicated, if you will, to the signal at Union Street. So we're going to be mixing or sharing, that lane for both access to the site, not necessarily completely unusual or unique to this location, as well as the traffic that is utilizing that lane to either turn left on the Union or continue straight on the King. So we're not really sure right now at this time, what the operations are at the signalized intersection, how that'll exactly work. Is the queue extend back? Is there going to be challenges? And I understand this is an existing driveway today. We're just sort of changing the dynamic by shifting all traffic into those two sites into that single driveway. If vehicles are going to be making a left out of the driveway that's to be maintained for lot 43, will there be challenges during peak periods? Is there a queue that extends backward? Just some information we don't have right now, so it'd be a little premature to comment on, I think, a great length, but just some things to be mindful of as we step forward. And I assume, my last thing, I guess, to say is I assume there was some consideration about switching up this approach, meaning maintaining the driveway that's being proposed to be closed and closing the one further closer to the intersection at lot 43 in an effort to sort of consolidate the driveways.
Yeah,
If
we
you
were
understand.
thinking just, trying to eliminate, I figured if we had that entrance closer to, keeping the one that we are proposing to close, that would just propose more traffic towards the residents and trying to keep, less turning movements in and around the residents was kind of the main thought process on that one.
Okay. There's just something to be mindful of if you look at the site right now. When you turn into the driveway for lot 43, that ingress, if you will, does line up directly across from the angled parking. I assume there's no changes proposed for the parking layout at lot 43?
Not at this time, no.
Okay. I know that's the existing condition, and I imagine there hasn't been too many issues with it. But just something to note. But that was it. That was all I wanted to bring out. Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you, Dennis. Before I go to the audience, I'll go to the rest of the board. I'll start on this side. Jen? Question?
Just, I guess similar to what was just said a bit, it's,
I'm wondering, it's tough because we're looking at one site, but yet they're all connected. It feels like the entry to, I like getting rid of one of these entrances, for sure, especially near the residences, but I wonder if it would help overall to avoid some of the conflicts with the queuing of the signal to shift the King Street Cafe entrance plan west, which is true east. It drives me nuts when these plans are upside down. Still on the King Street site, but a little further from the queuing of the actual signal. I appreciate quite a few of the comments being taken under consideration from the last meeting. I am still wondering if any outdoor amenity space is going to be provided to the residents. I know there's more green area shown, but still a little unclear to me if any of that is usable by the residents outside. So maybe through the chair, I guess it's a question to the applicant, are you planning on including?
Yeah, so I think that's the point of us putting the retaining wall in there. It gives us a lot larger, wider, flatter area for the residents to use. So I think I would imagine it would be a shared space for, the units in the front and the units in the back. But I think that was the intention of the retaining wall, was to, eliminate all that steep grade and have it relatively flat, so it's a,
So it's right now it's just no courtyard area.
Correct.
That's the intent, is that it can be utilized. I just wasn't sure if you were gonna put any sort of patio or, I do think it's nice to have it be available to the residents. One pretty minor comment or clarification, is that transformer existing or is that new?
That would be proposed.
Can that be screened with any type of greenery, at least pushed a little bit further, plan north, true south? Just enough for shrubs or something, so it's hidden from the street.
Yeah, so we have, we do have the landscape plan that we submitted before. But yeah, the transformer will be fully screened. We do have a landscape architect on board. So, these large trees that are on this plan as well, it would be more of just kind of bushes, per se, not trees, because you have the screening from the retaining wall. And then there would be a fence on top of the retaining wall as well. And just, we have to consider safety for the King Street parking there, obviously with the retaining wall there, so that's something that would be considered, whether it's the curb stops, and we haven't got full into design on the retaining wall, but we're thinking like a 6-inch curbing on that retaining wall, so it's designed to handle a minor impact as a safety barrier. So you're gonna have small shrubbery and flowers instead of, these large trees that the plan shows.
Okay.
But we still will have larger trees throughout the streetscape, and then the transformer will be screened, as well as some plantings around the dumpster as well.
Mm-hmm. And the sidewalk, I guess one thing, I appreciate looking at the continuity of the vehicular access through the site, but I would like maybe a closer look at the encouraged pedestrian connections throughout the adjacent sites, right? And our sidewalk is leading right into the nose of a parking spot on the King Street Cafe site. So you just want to make sure from a pedestrian safety standpoint, if anyone is encouraged to sort of traverse beyond the residential area, that it's being done in a safe manner, or discouraged altogether. So is it just access to the courtyard and then they're not encouraged to go in? The reality is people are going to walk across the street to the restaurant, so how are they getting there? And vice versa, on the west and the east. So just thinking about that. And then, can you clarify for me where the elevators are located within the building?
Yeah, okay, that's easy.
Pat, do you know where the elevators are in the building?
In the middle, the back section.
I think kind of maybe right under the lot 42, the big white sign.
So
Like right there.
that's just pretty far for anyone in, I mean, well, one question is, are there accessible units on the grade or on the first floor? Or are there designated accessible units?
Accessible units in the, accessible units for the art, in the building itself?
Well, we didn't have any.
Yeah, they're not- yeah.
Yeah.
No, there's not any designed.
There's not a design. So I guess just general, so then for visitors or if anyone who does have a unit has mobility challenges, right now the handicap parking is quite far from elevators. And I can't tell, the floor plan doesn't quite align with the elevation in terms of seeing where there are doors compared to what's happening behind those doors. And maybe the plan just hasn't caught up to any exterior design changes, but I just generally would like to see ADA parking as close to accessible entries and elevators as possible. I appreciate that you have some on the north and south part of the site, but maybe some clarification on that
Well, this is a ramp,
could help.
so if they're talking about
Yeah, we can easily,
handicap,
you know,
it's the ramp.
so with the regrading, on the, I'm with you, it was, the whole upside down thing drives me nuts.
Yeah.
The plan left side.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can easily, move one of those spaces, from this, well, I guess, plan north, the north near King
Yeah,
Street.
yeah.
And we can just move one over, and try and have one, ADA space at each entrance. So I can easily shift that over, because, with the regrading, I did get that down to the required ADA, the less than 2%.
Great, okay, thank you.
All good?
That's all for now.
Okay. Huh?
For the Beta traffic engineer, will you guys be providing a more formal report with additional comments, or your comments tonight pretty much your comments?
I think we're going to wait to see what Beta has to say on this. You know, there are some recent traffic studies with counts very close to this. And the trip generation for this use is just right out of the table. So I'm not sure it really makes sense to do a full-blown traffic study, but we're kind of looking for Beta's feedback. Does what we're suggesting make sense? And I think they have access to some of that
Sure.
data.
And I think with the comments that Beta has already made, that they are expressing some concerns about entrances in proximity to, the intersection, as well as, the left turn. This is a fairly busy area of town on King Street, so I would like to see enough information provided to us, not just a memo, but enough supporting information to show that this works. I appreciate what you've done to try to improve the circulation within the site. And I understand why we're doing it. I'm just not a big fan of having to have 3-4 sites connected, and especially one that's residential going through a busy parking lot like the King Street Cafe. And so for me, again, I'll reiterate, I understand why this is being done, and I know the board gave you some direction to do this. So it is what it is, in my opinion, but I want to see enough information to show us that this works, and that King Street will not be further impacted by traffic that's already occurring there. And down the road further, that's going to impact the other intersections, since we're already a mess. And some supporting information to show that the circulation 100% will work.
Understood completely, and we're certainly going to take our lead from Beta. We just haven't had comments back, and
Understood,
we're
yeah.
willing to sort of work with Beta and make sure they have all the information they need to be able to make informed decisions.
So for me, I think I'm not necessarily able to give you full comments tonight until I see the additional information from Beta. But I understand the direction in which you're going.
Thank you.
Good.
Mm.
Yeah. Jay?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I want to say, first off, I appreciate the redesign efforts of the site. I think you took a lot of what we said into consideration. For example, I found the safety improvements with the speed humps to be nice, and the closing of the driveway, I think, meets kind of what we were looking for in a safety aspect. I do share Jen's opinion that having this driveway closed is safer for the site, but I have curiosities about what it would mean to close a different one, you know, I think 3 is the magic number here. I think more is dangerous than 3, so it's just, I do have curiosities, which would be better to close. I'm not sure exactly how you would study that, or model that. I leave that to the traffic guys. You know, beyond that, just like a few other minor observations. You know, the bike rack, I wouldn't leave my bike on that bike rack over by the road. That's a good way for it to grow legs, if you could find a way to put it close to the building, especially because if someone's using it, they're probably like the kind of guy who has like a nice bike, right? So, at least to put it in an area that stands a little bit more of a chance of not being absconded. And then, you know, as we're talking about restriping King Street, you know, perhaps we have, I leave this up to you and Mike and Beta to take a look at, the opportunity to almost like flip what you got going on there right now. You get a dedicated left into the site, perhaps you put a dedicated right turn lane into the site to allow traffic to flow through King Street from the light and proceed that way. So I'm not exactly sure what those lane configurations are allowed out there. I don't, you know, I'm not you guys, but you know, perhaps we have some ability there to make this work as well. But that's about what I got.
Okay, thanks, Jay. Chris?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, just want to reiterate, appreciate the redesign. I think closing that rear entrance to me, and then the front entrance as well off of King Street, for me, make this a little bit more palatable to the residential development. I think that I expressed that at the last meeting, as well as my concern over general scale for the street. So seeing the elevations is extremely helpful in regards to where the roof of this building is to King Street Cafe and Sierra's. So for me, I think putting all of these things together, my concerns over scale, and then again, the abutters, I don't believe we're challenging the 3-story height. I think for me are pretty much wiped out. And then for me, from a non-engineering standpoint, the design and presentation of the traffic flow is consistent with what I think would be appropriate for what's there, and the connectivity to the other sites. So overall, I'm very happy with the changes made here and looking forward to further tweaks. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Chris. Mark?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to add a couple other comments, I guess. I do appreciate the effort that went through all the reconfiguring the parking lot, and working with us with that. In regards to, it's not still clear to me from the elevation, from the street side, from King Street, that doorway, is that, do you have to step up to get into there? Or is that at grade? And it would be the same for the other side, the south side. Just looks like there's a step up on it by the other.
The part that faces the pond, there are stairs.
How about
And
towards the
there's also a
street, towards King Street?
No.
Correct.
Yeah, okay, yeah, so, right, yeah,
And conversely, the one on the opposite end.
and one in the back.
The reason why I'm asking is if you have
Spaces, yeah.
2 ADA spaces here, if it's a step up, then they can't access that with a wheelchair, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so would relocating those 2 ADA spaces to the front, or the way you want, towards the King's restaurant side, one, because of that, and there's the ramp going up
Sure.
in front of the building. 2, unless you reconfigure that travel way there, it seems kind of hazardous for someone in a wheelchair to be cutting across there to get to the ramp, especially if they can't.
I think that's a good comment. I
Yeah.
think we should just
We can just move
move along.
that's an easy one. We'll just move both of those ADA spaces along
Likewise,
King
the one on
Street.
the south side, on the very end, they would have to come over, that would have to be relocated too.
Yeah. Yes, yep.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it's some coordination that as we move along. I think the intention that would be ADA. Obviously, the elevation is not showing that, so, you know, as we move along in the design phase, obviously, all those coordination matches. But, yeah, I think the great point is moving those 2 along King Street. Like we said, we're calming the traffic on the other side, so let's just move them over to that area. I think those are great comments, and I think we
I
can
just think it would be
incorporate
less
that.
traffic from, you know.
Exactly.
This would, unless we close one of those entrances, I think that's just gonna be a busy throughway.
Yeah.
So to speak. The other comment I would have is, I know in the last few winters, we haven't had a lot of snow, but but it seems that snow storage, even though it's identified, it seems maybe lacking. I mean, you have one in that spot where you said there's the additional space over by the dumpster. If you take Jay's recommendation and move that bike rack, at least you can get more storage there. But I think it's kind of lacking as far as if we were to get any kind of snowstorm, substantial snowstorm.
Yeah,
I know we're in tight space, I get that.
Yeah, and I think, you know, I think they're just kind of shown as, you know, just a general location. Obviously, the side of the dumpsters, it's a landscaped island, so that one's tough, but I think you do have some relatively large space between the back of the south side of the parking spaces to the tree line there. So I didn't identify that, but that whole landscaped area. And then, you know, even just that landscaped area to the west of the building, that we removed the parking space. We have a smaller snow storage, but I think, you know, nobody's going to be using that large landscaped area. So, you know, I mean, as a kid, if they put a big pile there, I think that'd be a lot of fun that they could sled right from that pile right down into the landscape area.
Into the roadway.
Just, my wife says I'm 12, so let's just piggyback on that, so.
But otherwise, that's all I have, but thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Mark. I only had a couple comments. I agree with Beth about the traffic flow. I want to make sure that Beta does a thorough review of this. We just want to make sure the concept works. This isn't always in front of us, so we've got to make sure we make the right decision, safe decision. I like eliminating the parking, the entrance on the, you know, four cuts right there is just gonna be tough. So I like it broken into 3, and I like the loop. My only thought is in the back of the site, I just had a little bit of reservation from the gas station side to the back street, the King Street side, a little speed bump there. I just wanna make sure that doesn't become a throughway for trucks if they stop at 7-Eleven. Maybe some kind of height restriction bar on that one crossing right between the lots, so they don't cut through there, then they're gonna get pinched into the turning radiuses throughout the rest of the site to find their way out. But if you stop them at the front, they won't be able to get out, you know,
Right at
cut
the-
through.
At
Yes,
the property
yeah.
line?
Yeah, I think that would be beneficial. It'll control a lot of the traffic trying to cut through, I think, coming through, which you don't want, especially if you got kids in the building, you know. I think I agree with the rest of the board on a lot of the comments. Snow storage, I would definitely take a peek at, make sure you have enough. And obviously, these will be permanent easements that you'll be generating for each lot to be divvied up to cut through as well.
Yep.
Okay, so I think,
Good Chair, can I ask
Yeah.
one quick question?
Sure.
Sorry. The parking spot that's in the top left near the dumpster,
Yep.
is that, it doesn't seem like it's very maneuverable when you're backing out. I'm wondering if you eliminate that spot and just add a little green space there.
Yeah.
It just seems really tight when you're, you know, it doesn't seem to work.
Yeah.
I don't know what others think of that, but.
Yeah, you can't back out
Yeah,
and then
it's
out.
not
Yeah.
really that easy.
You have to go like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's an easy fix. I know.
I'd be supportive of if you need to have a waiver or something.
Yeah.
I'd be supportive of that.
17.
yeah, to make it maneuverable.
Okay.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we can take that,
And it expands your snow storage a little bit.
Yep.
right, yeah. I mean, we can, that land bank spot, it's up to you guys if you want us to do the waiver for the parking space, or we, just to eliminate that, add more green space, or we can just kind of, this area here that we had, the land bank for the one.
I will speak for myself. I don't see you ever needing to produce the construction of 1 or 2 parking spots as a land bank, so I'd rather see you submit a waiver asking for the reduction of 2 spaces.
Okay, great.
That's just my opinion.
As long as we're talking about that parking spot that's in the green, that's projected, like they call it, the land bank.
Yeah.
parking.
Yeah.
do you want to see that stay green, or would you?
I would rather see it stay
Yeah,
green, because I don't
okay.
realistically think in the future you'll build one parking
Yeah.
spot, so.
Yeah, we'll
So-
just put a waiver for.
Yeah, we'll
I
just do,
understand why you did it, but I think realistically, asking for a waiver is probably more appropriate.
sure.
Okay, great.
Okay, good. Anybody in the audience? If you just approach the mic and give your name and address, please, for the record.
Good evening. My name's Lauren Lannon. I live at 90 High Bank in Spruce Pond Condos. I represent the board and the owners. At the June meeting, we had raised a question about the sewer easement. We have 100 units that are in our easement, and on this map, the easement looks like it comes from the King Street Cafe, picks up the 30 units in this condo, and then goes down and ties into our easement. They were going to do some kind of study with the sewer department as far as if that would overtax that sewer line or putting it straight out to the street instead of going down and tying into ours. So I just wanted, it looks like on the map that that's still on there. We wanted to see if that study had been done and if that was considered.
Have you guys made any headway on that?
We haven't made any headway with that, but we will work with the DPW.
Okay, please.
For the sewer connections.
Okay, good, thank you. Anybody else? No? Whoop, oh, I'm sorry, just approach the mic, please, and name and address for the record, please.
Yeah, Eric Stelzer, 7 Mercer Lane. I appreciate the comments that the board has been making about the facade to the building, as well as reducing the traffic lanes. I think that's the right direction that we're going here. First, I just want to double check that the facade at the front there isn't a faux facade, that there is an entranceway into the building, into that location. Okay, that's great. 2, traffic is definitely an issue in this area. I visit it frequently going into and out of that gas station. So we do need to take a look at that seriously. I would encourage as much traffic up to the traffic signal light onto Union Street, accessing these properties as much as possible so that there's controlled aspects in and out of the site. Alternatively, you could take a look at making right-hand turn onlys out of those lots, but need to think about it and the impacts to the businesses that are within there. Another thought is on the existing conditions of the parking lots in those areas. If anybody goes to King Street Cafe like I do, they know that some of that parking lot is in rough shape, so hopefully that's in the plans to get that resurfaced. Last thought I have is about biking. As Jay noted, bike racks out front won't work. What I'd really encourage, if we want to reduce the amount of traffic on our streets here, we need to have bike lockers that are located at the back of the lot. That way we can encourage more people to have less cars in their property and more bikes that they can use to access our downtown area. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else? That's it? Okay. Amy? A motion to continue, what do you think for time?
September 22nd?
Work? Whoop. What's that? Oh, well, Mike, they're in due process still. Mike, you want to make a quick comment?
Sure.
I didn't skip you on purpose. I know it was.
I know it's not her, it's okay, Mr. Chairman, it's okay.
But
no, I just did take a cursory look at it when it came in, and, the one comment I had, Dennis from Beta picked up on also was the striping in King Street that has to be addressed somehow. And then one other thing I noticed was, the way on the overall picture, you have a faint, aerial photo in the background, but you could see, you also mentioned the angled parking when you first come in there. If you look at the aerial photo, they're actually parked parallel along there, so the existing parking doesn't match up what's shown on the plan right there. So you just might want to reevaluate the parking in King Street Cafe.
I think if you're looking at like Google Earth, that parking has been changed. The
Okay.
parking is actually the way it is on the plan now.
Okay, and I was just referring to what
Yep.
you mentioned, and I
Okay.
saw that in the background, so.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, it threw me for a loop too.
well, I can't miss Gary, I guess. Nothing as of right now.
No.
Still waiting for calcs and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I'll make a motion to continue 380 King Street to, what was it, September
22nd.
22nd. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you,
Have a good
guys.
night.
And next item of business will be for 543 Union Street, Aiden Estates, a definitive subdivision plan. Make a motion to waive the reading. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to go to Amy first, Department of Planning, if she could give us a brief overview, please, before we go to the applicants.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yep, so the applicant filed for a 6-lot residential subdivision off of Union Street on July 21st, 2025. There was no preliminary plan that has been submitted, so therefore the rules are 135 days for a decision unless the applicant agrees for an extension prior to that time. A few just comments is the lighting plans and the lamp posts, I'd say they'd coordinate with DPW if those are the lighting, the lamp posts that we use throughout town, to make sure if this is gonna become a town accepted road. Beta Gary has provided a review letter, and they're requesting one waiver is to allow for the sidewalk on one side instead of two.
Okay, good.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Amy. Before I go to anyone else, if I could just go to the applicants, if you could just introduce yourselves for the record.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Richard Cornetta, attorney for the applicant. I'm joined to my left by Mike Hassett of Gary and Halnan. He is our consulting engineer. And to my right is Roger Calabrese of Calabrese Development, who is the applicant.
Okay, good. Before I go to the rest of the board, I think maybe if you could give the board and the audience a brief overview of what you're presenting.
Sure. Mr. Calabrese, just a little bit about him. He is a resident of the town of Franklin, has been involved with several notable projects in the town. Roger has been involved, and I'll just touch on a few of them. The DCU Bank on the southerly side of West Central Street was a project he had done several years ago. The Charles River Bank, which is located partly in Bellingham and in Franklin, very attractive building. 471 West Central Street, the commercial plaza. You might be familiar with Jersey Mike's, the Gentle Dental building that is up there. And also, notably, 150 Emmons Street, which is the former town hall, was Roger's project, which he, through the town council, was able to acquire that town land and developed what we believe to be a very attractive project on the entry in the town of Franklin. The locus is 543 Union Street, which is a 4.6 acre parcel that is currently in the zoning district Single Family 3. It is currently utilized as a single-family home that is there, and in the back parcel, those might be familiar with the UPIC blueberry operation that they have in the back there. It's a undeveloped portion. Most of the site is undeveloped toward the rear of the single-family home. The development proposal, without stepping on Mike's toes a little bit, but the development proposal before you is for a single 6-lot subdivision with a single storm drainage lot that you will see that is shown on the plan to handle the storm water proposed for the impervious areas that would be created. The project is to be serviced by a single 570-foot in length road off of Union Street that it dead ends into a cul-de-sac. As far as, the details, the stormwater management and the utilities, they're still being worked out by our team. We did just receive Beta's first initial comment letter dated earlier this month, and so our intention is for our team to huddle together and address those issues. We are looking at stormwater management, as well as utility services for the proposed site. What we are, just to give the board a precursor, it looks like, and Mike probably can get into a little more detail, it looks like that we will be shrinking the project down from what you have seen before you, going down to 5 lots with a dedicated stormwater drainage lot as opposed to the 6 being proposed. And that would involve, we think, to be, a better, more preferred handling of the stormwater management. And I believe that Mike Maglio would probably share that opinion without putting that words in his mouth. So with that, our intention tonight was to just show up before the board, make our initial presentation before you, if you have any comments, but we'd like to have the opportunity to get our team together, review that letter, finish up and address those concerns. So we obviously would be looking for a continuance tonight.
Correct.
So thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, good, thank you.
Sure, I can give a brief overview. He did a great job in explaining the gist of the project, but, the project is proposed to be serviced by town water and sewer. And as he mentioned, currently we have a detention basin located in the north corner of the property. And then also not pictured on that plan, but, on the individual lots, we had stormwater chambers spread across the lot to, diffuse the stormwater recharge. After the initial submittal we made, we met with Mike Maglio to discuss the stormwater ahead of time, and he expressed his reservations with having significant portions of the drainage on the individual lots, citing recent experience the town had had. And so we've already begun looking at alternatives to try and get everything onto that single lot that you're used to. The only potential areas that might be a little bit tricky is on the western side. The rear yards of the abutters drain down into an existing depression in that location. And we'll try to get that basin in the front, but we might need to have a couple little, small recharge areas just for the rear yards in that location if we can't get it to flow gravity to a basin out in the front. But, he did a great job of explaining the rest of the project. I'm happy to answer any questions. I guess I can talk to, speak to Beta's comments. A lot of their comments mirrored the primary concerns of Maglio, and so, I didn't see anything in their letter that was, earth-shattering revelations for us, or that we would expect to cause any great problems for us during our revision. So,
Okay,
happy to hear any other comments from the board.
okay, good, thank you. I'll go to Gary. Gary, any, real quick?
You kind of stole a little bit of my thunder. They're going to reduce the scope. A few things. I believe, if you look at my letter, I believe they're going to need probably about 4 or 5 more waivers relative to the subdivision rules and regulations. One of them is specifically center line, according to the subdivision rules and regs, should be opposite Delta Drive. I think they're a little bit. I think they're a little bit to the north. Skewed. Yeah. And I've discussed this with Mike, and I have to agree. I have no issues relative to the utilization of dry wells associated with the roof runoff, which still in and of itself would require a waiver from the planning board, because it would require a waiver from one of the regulations. But the issue in terms of trying to pick up the driveways was, when you looked at it, every one of the lots had to have a small swale in the front to be able to direct it to that. There was a lot of things there.
I have that in my notes, don't worry.
So I had a lot of issues with that. But other than that, as I stated, there probably are about 4 or 5 more waivers that are going to be required on this subdivision itself. But that's obviously for the board, and with that, I'll leave it to Mike.
Okay. Mike?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm happy to hear about the pending modifications regarding the drainage, so happy to hear that. The only other real comment I have at the moment is that the water and sewer will require town council approval as our water main and sewer main extensions. So go through that process. Other than that, that's it right now.
Okay, good. I guess I'll go to the board first. I'll go to Mark. Mark, any comments, questions?
No, I guess there's going to be probably more discussion anyway, so.
Yep, this is just preliminary, open the gates and get your thoughts.
I'm all set right now.
Okay, good. Chris?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You had mentioned reducing to 5 lots, and I know that we haven't seen any plans. Which lot goes away, and do the rest of the lots pick up additional lot sizes, or does that become just its own?
Yeah, so in our preliminary explorations, the idea was to use the reduction by one lot to reduce the road length as well, which would, simultaneously provide a larger drainage parcel so that we can move some of that distributed drainage into that, concentrated drainage parcel, while also reducing the amount of impervious surface that would, also help shrink the size of that pond. So, yeah, so basically it would just kind of, shrink a little bit, but the lots would, the land use would kind of go between the drainage parcel getting bigger and each of the lots getting a little bit bigger, to, square the math up.
So less paving, more green space.
Yeah, that's the idea, yep.
Sounds good to me. Thank you.
Good. Jay?
Yeah, excellent. So, I don't have too many comments because Beta has a bunch, but you guys have already acknowledged that. I guess the one or two I have is, I agree with Chris. I think the reducing this to 5 lots probably works pretty well. And then the other thing I have some interest in is the intersection of this road with Delta. Beta had made some comments about the offset alignment, which I thought was particularly astute. However, lighting, I was kind of wondering what's going on there. You do have some proposed on the site. There does appear to be a Cobra head across the street. I don't know if this is a good opportunity there to take a look at perhaps mounting a second one. I don't know if you want to look at the spillage and what that light is doing, but if you're going to put a second light there, a second road there, it becomes kind of a bigger intersection and lighting that, especially because people can have a tendency to go a little quick on that road, especially at night, might be beneficial for safety.
Yeah, we'd be happy to look at the lighting, potentially prepare a photometric to help look at the current lighting versus what we could do to improve it if needed. And, as Beta commented, we'll look to see if we can square up that Aiden Street alignment. And if not, how close we can get, to make it an improvement. Yeah, we're happy to address those.
Thank you, that's it.
Okay, thanks, Jay. Beth?
Sure, thank you. I'm going to try the best way to phrase this so as not to offend any town residents. So, Mr. Calarese, you are now the applicant and the owner of this property, right?
Yes.
The folks, the family that used to own the Blueberry Farm no
Correct.
longer is in control of this property,
Mhm.
correct? So just to put this out there, that I know there's probably a lot of folks in the audience who, like me, know that this is a great resource for the town, but unfortunately, that resource we've moved on from now, because I'm assuming you're not going to be running a blueberry farm going forward, correct? Right.
It hasn't been active for 3 years.
All right.
That's not true about this year.
You want this yet? Yeah.
Anyway.
Sorry.
Okay.
So I'm just putting it out there for those residents who are in the audience that we understand that this was a great resource and a great area for the residents to go to pick blueberries, but that's no longer an option. So this applicant has come forward as now the owner of this property presenting this subdivision, which is the right for this person to develop in this location. So I just want to put that out there in the kindest manner possible, that we understand that there might be comments, why can't you save this property? Unfortunately, that's kind of already moved past that opportunity, if I'm correct in saying that. So one thought I had was, is there a way where your subdivision road is coming in? It looks like it kind of goes through some of the areas in which some of the blueberry bushes are located. For street plantings, is there a way to preserve some of those? Maybe kind of make it part of the theme of this particular location, that, the historic nature of it being a former blueberry farm. Maybe you incorporate some of those kind of plantings into the roadway landscaping?
Yeah, that wasn't something we evaluated yet, but, this is a process ahead of us, so we'd be happy to look at that and come back to you
Might be a nice
with
touch.
some ideas if we can
It's
preserve or
yeah.
even adjust the locations of some of those
If
blueberry
it's
fields.
unrealistic, totally understand, but it might be something nice to preserve that in this area. But other than that, you have a laundry list of comments from Beta, and I think just waiting to hear some of those resolve, and like everyone else has stated, as well as their town staff and consulting engineer, that reducing it probably is a good idea.
Okay. Thank you. Jen?
If I'm looking at Google Earth and reading the plans correctly, I think there may be an opportunity here with, or I challenge you in reconfiguring where the remaining 5 houses end up being located. Could they better maintain the little forested area on the site that is still there today in order to maintain a vegetative buffer to the residences on as many sides of the site as possible. It looks like on the west side, I'm hoping that's all preserved, that existing tree line. I asked that it all be preserved. I'm wondering if there's any way, it looks like you were proposing clear cutting this little kind of grove in the north. I don't know which unit that is. It's the second one from the left, but that is completely decimating a forested area. I would encourage you to look at ways to perhaps preserve that area of vegetation as much as possible to be able to maintain that for the neighbors. And to Beth's point, you're right, the U-pick blueberry thing, it's out of our control now that the property's in. Would love to see the spirit of that somehow carried on. I am not a landscape architect. I do not know if blueberry trees, once they're removed, can be replanted. Does anyone know that?
It's kind of sketchy depending on the size of the tree, and blueberries are also dependent on a highly acidic soil, so you'd have to actually move the highly acidic peat and wheat-based soil with it.
Okay, well, this is why Jay's on the board. But I'm just wondering if there's any opportunity to even like donate any of those plants, to like, offer them as the site is being.
I would love a mature blueberry tree.
See? But it just might be a way to also keep it in the community, pay homage to the history of the site, and offer like a window of time or raffle off, blueberry plants to be donated to the community.
As a quick commentary, blueberry plants are depending on a pollinating partner. They have to be.
Okay, so multiple blueberry plants. I don't know.
So now you want
I don't
two?
know the logistics.
Well, you have to know that it's actually an offsetting species, so you'd have to know which species that
Okay, well, you can,
It's
do your own,
something they can
everyone can
look
do their own
into.
research, but point is, it might be, there's a lot here that I think the community loves, and I wonder if there's any way to think creatively about possible preservation of anything on this site, even if it were to be relocated elsewhere as a gesture to the community. That's all for now.
Okay, good, thank you. I don't have too much, I'd just like to see a lot of the comments from Beta obviously addressed. I did have reservations about the swales, because we did have a project that the homeowners went and landscaped all the swales in, I think, 3 or 6, so I was against that, but I'm glad you're gonna rearrange that, because that's something that could be problematic. I would just probably think, we're gonna continue this, obviously, but when you come back, maybe get the 5-lot design for us, so we can get a better eye on it, if that being said.
Yeah, that
At
was the
least in
intention.
schematic form, not,
Yeah.
to make sure everything works, okay? So, I don't have much to say other than that. Mike took the conversation with Jay about Delta Drive, so that's all set too. I'll go to the audience. If anybody in the audience has questions or comments, just approach the mic and give your name and address, please.
Hi, my name is Scott Pond. I live on 78 Elm Street. Now, I noticed on the plan that you had projected up above, one of the lots on the left-hand side had, what do you call them, lines for just elevation and all.
Contour lines?
Yes, contour lines. And one of them seemed really close, and I was wondering how that was going to affect how you're going to reduce from the 6 lots down to 5.
You want to try to approach that?
So I can't speak directly to it now, but the idea is that we would be shortening the road if we can, so that would be pulling everything away from that western side, or at least a good portion of it. And one of the first things that we would adjust is the grading and getting additional clearance to the western abutters.
Okay. So the new drawing will address that. Anybody else? Questions, comments?
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. My name is Lee Genetti, 57 Hutchinson Street. My dad and my mom, Rita and Ron Genetti, own 557 Union Street, which is an active blueberry farm. We are still open. This was a farm that was started by my dad and his brother, and it is the other half of the farm that was sold. We are still active. So I appreciate tonight's presentation so far, and it raises one of the big issues that I have, is what's really missing here is an environmental impact. The biggest abutter, which is our property, really was not addressed in the presentation. You know, concerns that we have are related to erosion control. How's that going to work? How will the stormwater impact the groundwater that recharges our wells? There's a well on this property that is connected to our well. Without a well, we don't have a farm. Just changing the topography of the land will greatly impact the water, what the water is. We don't know how it will impact our soil. Having properties that are right next to the land where the farm was originally designed with a buffer that goes all the way to the outside. You have buffer both in terms of vegetation and space away. You have herbicides, you have fertilizers that are put down on people's lawn. How will that leach across our land? We don't know that because we can't tell from these plans. So we think that there needs to be a really robust sort of environmental impact, because unlike many family businesses, we can't pick up and move to a different location. You know, our land goes right up to the property line. We will operate right up to the property line. We are an active farm that has activity year-round, open burning in the winter. You have times where you need to spray. We have people that are in on Fridays and Saturdays, starting in the morning, going through. Dust get kicked up with the way the road structures are set up. So these are all natural conflicts that can start to be set up. So those are some of the concerns that we have. Additionally, I think something that the board really needs to be thinking about is waivers. I would say if a project can be done on its merits, that's fine. For a project like this, what you're going to end up losing with farmland and the impacts to an active farm, that becomes a problem. And ultimately, we know housing is important. My comments are not about anti-housing, but I think it's about values. I think it is about how we look at the 2025 master plan and what is important. And as we look at farmland in the city, about potential uses and how that can damage it, you have to weigh what are the benefits to the costs. So I think there's a lot more that needs to be taken place, not only looking at the plans. It's hard to give you more detailed comments, which we will, not knowing what the actual plans now are, where you're going from 6 to 5. But I think in this case, what is happening to the abutters, and particularly our property, there needs to be a lot more that is done in terms of shielding, what is going to happen right along the property line for buffers, and how this will actually impact a longstanding farm and farmland in Franklin. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
it's a good question, and I
Yeah.
apologize where did you go? Oh, there you are, sorry. I apologize, I did not mean to assume that this property was the only farm. I did not know, and that wasn't really indicated, so I apologize for that. So your farm is still actively operating, and this is a piece of property that was carved off by a different owner, or by, could you just show me where your farm is, I'm sorry, in relation to this site?
South.
So it's down there? Okay, understood.
Okay.
So there's two different parcels, one is still actively operating, one is not. Okay, understood, did not know that, so I apologize.
Anybody else in the audience? Good,
It's going to be a hard act following my son.
just
I'm Ron
name it.
Genetti. I own the farm. The farm started 51 years ago, me and my brother. The idea that we had, when we were youngsters, our parents would take us out picking blueberries in July. We'd go out in the fields, the farms. We had a lot of land then. You'd find your special place. You wouldn't tell anybody about it because that was your little blueberry patch. So with the growth of the town, that disappeared. So we felt that if we put in a You Pick Blueberries, that people who went picking blueberries with their kids would come to our farm, and they have. And it's been a great success, and we get like 500 people every weekend picking blueberries. It's wonderful. We got little kids come in. You got to see their eyes beam. So that's a little bit of the history. Now, that's how we got started. We operated the farm as one. My brother and I said, look, let's operate as one. It's your land, it's my land. we both worked together. It didn't make any difference where we worked. We just operated the farm that way. And that's why it was set up that way. And now to divide it, it's a disaster. We're going to have 3 homes facing our property. We have the longest stretch right there. When people come, if this goes through, people who have not familiar with a farm, and they buy this property, and they're going to see the activity, they're going to complain to the town. And then the town is going to come after me. And it's going to be an unresolvable problem. We do have to spray. I have to tell you that right now. There are invasive species that are coming in that we can't control. We try to use the IPM method where you put out traps, you determine how many insects you have, whether you have to spray or not, depending on the volume. But there's one now that's called an SWD. It's a spotted winged Drosophilus. And the recommendation now by the Agriculture Department is just as soon as the berries turn blue, spray, and spray every 5 and 7 days till the end of the season. That's how bad it is. They regenerate every 8 days. So if you have found people coming in and they see this spraying and they're not familiar with it, they're not going to be happy. It's going to cause a lot of grief. Okay, what else do I have here? As my son pointed out, when we laid it out to have a barrier. Now we have bushes right on the line. How do I keep people from going on the other line picking blueberries? And how do I, in all consciousness, spray those berries knowing that some of the spray is going to go in the other land? And I don't think I should have to take them out to satisfy somebody else who wants to make a living. What else do I have here? Well, you've addressed the water, my son addressed the water problem. Though I do want to tell you this. We had a shallow well put in. And in the summer, the water level was about 10 feet down. Come the spring, the water level was 2 feet above the ground. And that's going to affect that whole area. That's what I experienced. When we put in the blueberries, there were a couple of houses that had water in their cellars. They had a problem. We knew the people very well. We know the new owners, but not as well. I think when we put in the blueberries, I think it may have solved their problem. Only they can address that, whether they have water or not. But when I worked the fields, I've never seen the bulkhead open and then pumping water out. So it's an issue. And I think that's enough. I think I give you enough detail. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, just to follow up on one of the comments that was made, now that there's been a clarification that there is an existing farm still operating to the south of the plan there. In our subdivision bylaws in section 308 for definitive plans, letter A, submittal requirements, item K, it indicates that an environmental analysis, if required, is it something that the board feels, considering the farm in the southern portion of the site, that a limited environmental analysis, reviewing some, I know the dune stormwater reports, but perhaps some other items should be looked at in a limited capacity?
I think what I'd like to see would be on the new design, distances to the proposed houses, to the lot line, and to the trees. So we can determine if there's gonna be any overspray in the new owners' backyards, if there is any.
But to Beth's
To-
point,
Yeah, but that'll-
Farm, as
yeah.
well as, it's not only
Yeah.
to benefit the subdivision for spraying, it's
Yeah.
to benefit the farm to know that the impacts of the subdivision aren't going to impact their.
Now, you're downhill the farm, aren't you? Correct. That's what I thought. So, they're on the downhill slope of the farm.
Right,
And there's
but
probably an
just-
incline of what, about 7 to 8 feet from this elevation to the
Still
bridge of the
provide that
farm?
kind of
minimum?
statement saying that the slope won't impact the.
No,
each
if anything,
farm,
it'll impact this more than
I
the
know,
upside.
I just
that's all.
want something in writing to appease everybody, saying that a review has been done, even if it's a limited capacity, to show that the environmental impacts will be manageable to.
Yes, I agree. A qualified professional should evaluate the environmental impact to the adjacent sites, because I think there's a much bigger system here of ecology that needs to be evaluated and considered.
And I'm not asking for thousands and thousands of dollars to be spent, just something basic to show that those needs are being met.
Is there something you could work with Beta on and
Yeah, if that's the pleasure of the board, then we can work with Beta.
put some
and-
people at ease?
And find a consultant that might be able to provide some clarity on potential impacts.
Okay. Good. So, you got one more, or I'm just gonna move it along? They're gonna be back.
No, I know. Typically, this type of project is not going in front of Conservation Commission.
Nope.
Yeah.
No
okay.
wetlands
No.
anywhere nearby.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
So, one more shot to the audience, anybody out there? You just want to, just name and address, please?
Hi, I'm Marion Shemansky, 529 Pleasant Street. I'm the Chair of the Agricultural Commission in Franklin, and I'm here on behalf of the entire commission. Our mission statement is to protect, preserve, and promote Franklin agricultural land. There's not a lot of agricultural land left in Franklin because of the suburbanization that's taken place. We feel really strongly that the land at 543 Union Street has been tended and fed and enriched and cared for over 40 years. This land needs to remain in agricultural production and protected against anyone who is, or any organization or any group that is trying to do anything that would disturb or destroy this land. And we are asking that the board, the planning board, does not grant any variances that would allow this project to continue if it's within your power. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, just on that, there are no variances required for this project. They're asking for one waiver to waive one sidewalk instead of two. So that's the only waiver. So, I mean, it's a minor waiver in the grand scheme of the waivers they could be asking for.
And I'd like to point out too that a reduction in impervious area would be, I would think, a benefit to the feel of the area, right? You know, you don't have additional pavement, that's less runoff and less impacts.
Shorter road.
Yeah, exactly.
Green space, less pavement. Okay. So make a motion to continue.
Mr. Chairman, sorry, there's one person
Oh,
on
sorry.
Zoom that's had their hand raised.
Yeah, Zoom land?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, if you just want to introduce yourself for the record, please.
Yeah, hello. My name is Dr. Michael Yeagley. I live at 513 Union Street. I'm here tonight to oppose the Agent Estates development and specifically the waiver request that would allow only one sidewalk instead of the required two. First off, this development is going to destroy productive farmland and green space that our community has consistently valued and worked to preserve. However, if you're determined to let it go, then you must also not grant this dangerous waiver. First off, Franklin has repeatedly shown its commitment to preserving green space. In 2020, we passed the Community Preservation Act, implementing the tax surcharge specifically to fund open space protection. Clearly, our community values this type of preservation of farmland. Furthermore, the safety implications of granting this waiver are not small. Even on this dead-end street, single sidewalks create safety hazards. Residents on the non-sidewalk side have to cross the road just to access basic pedestrian infrastructure. This exposes them to unnecessarily vehicle traffic, delivery trucks, neighbors, traffic, etc. This is particularly dangerous for children who, those of you that have children will agree here, lack the cognitive development to safely assess when vehicles are approaching. Single sidewalks also create ADA violations by failing to provide equal access to all properties. Having sidewalks on both sides provides safe pedestrian access to all properties without forcing residents into the roadway. This waiver's request undermines our established safety standards. Personally, this development will dramatically impact my quality of life. 6 new houses crammed into what is currently open farmland will create an overcrowded subdivision directly adjacent to my property. This is going to eliminate the peaceful, rural character I chose when I bought my home. It's going to replace mature trees and agricultural land with dense housing that crowds the property lines. The Blueberry Farm currently provides not just agricultural value, but critical green space, a wildlife habitat, and natural stormwater management that benefits the entire neighborhood. If we're going to sacrifice this green space for development, the absolute minimum we can do is ensure it's built safely. I ask you to not compound the loss of half of this blueberry farm by also compromising pedestrian safety. The developers knew our sidewalk requirements when they proposed this project. I ask you to hold them to the same standards we require of every other development, follow our laws, protect our residents' safety, and send a clear message that Franklin takes both green space preservation and public safety seriously. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, oh.
Just a few words. My name is Suzanne Grogan. I live at 558 Union Street, directly across the street from these good people in the beautiful Blueberry Farm, where my girls literally grew up. I just want to echo what this gentleman just said about the commitment to green space and to a way of life. I also want to speak to the fact that, as you know, Union Street, I've lived on Union Street for 40-something years, the first 15 of which I was still the new neighbor. And I've watched the traffic and the development increase exponentially over the years. And if you stand where this house and this future development will go forward, I assume it sounds like it's moving forward, it's just what it's going to look like. But if you stand there and you look to your right, it's actually a blind spot where the traffic comes heavily trafficked, regardless of how many lights you put in there, to have this intersection directly across from Delta with one sidewalk seems borderline ludicrous and clearly unsafe. So I'm hard pressed to understand why even a waiver would be something this board, this committee would allow to move forward when you purport to support the green space needs and the safety of our community. So please consider wisely. Please consider what this family has brought to this community and any number of people who have benefited from that. And that's all I've got to say.
Thank you.
Just quickly, Ed Szymanski, 529 Pleasant Street. Separate from the Agricultural Commission, personally, I had wanted to comment about the impact on the rest of the Blueberry Farm, because they were talking about this as only a former blueberry farm, and that's already been expressed about that. And I just want to express a deep concern as a resident and somebody who's concerned about agriculture and all, that the impact on the rest of the Blueberry Farm be seriously considered. You know, because as much of a shame as it is that we're going to lose 4 acres of agricultural land, and I understand you say there's nothing anybody can do about that because it's been purchased, but the grave concern here is what the impact is on another 4+ acres of agricultural land in town, and I think that's a serious issue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just to clarify, I apologize. I did not know there was a second half of the Blueberry Farm, so there's a family that owns the second half. My apologies, did not know that. But I do still stand by the fact that this is a property that's been purchased by somebody else, and I hope this board can review it in a manner which will be safe for the abutting Blueberry Farm and provide those answers and look at it in the bigger picture of how this particular development will impact or not impact the Blueberry Farm. So I'll clarify my original statement to the family of the Blueberry Farm and to the residents. And I'll just leave it at that for now.
Good, thank you. Amy?
Yeah, it can be continued to September 22nd. It's the next available meeting.
Give you enough time to do some rework?
I expect so.
Or at least come back with an update on
Yeah,
the
we'll at the very least
reconfiguration?
have an updated conceptual design, if not the full responses, but at least our approach to addressing the comments you've heard tonight.
Okay, so make a motion to continue 543 Union Street, Aiden Estates till September 22nd. Or a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Make a motion, take a 5-minute recess. Wait a second. All in favor?
Aye.
You don't need to. Yeah. Yeah, you do. Chris, you hear me? Good. Good evening. Welcome back, everybody. This is our last item of business tonight. This is Sunken Meadow. This is part of Cranberry Estates modification to the subdivision plan. I'll go to Amy first, Department of Planning, if you could give us an overview of where this came from and where we have to take it.
Mr. Chairman, should I make a motion to waive the reading?
Yep. Make a
Second.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This was filed with us on August 6, 2025. This is a modification to an existing subdivision known as Cranberry Meadows. It was a court order that was remanded back to the Franklin Planning Board to remove the temporary cul-de-sac turnaround at the end of the road, which allows for the development that was appealed and overridden by the courts to be developed in the town of Bellingham. So they're in front of us tonight to have some further modification.
Okay,
Thank you.
Before I go to the board, if I could just go to the applicant, please just introduce yourselves for record.
Michael Hassett, engineer.
Yeah, my name is Neil Bingham. I'm counsel for the applicant, Brendan Properties, Burton Woods LLC, and with me today is Brendan Giblin, who's representing the owner group. He's an experienced developer, and he's the successor in ownership to Hidden Meadows Realty LLC, which is the property abutting Sunken Meadows in Bellingham, Massachusetts.
Okay, good. Just so everybody knows, there's a letter that we're gonna read. It was online, it was submitted. This is basically a court mandate from a judge telling us we cannot not vote against this. So I just want everybody to be aware of this, that this is something that we have to do. But Jen, the clerk, will read it so everybody understands. We have really no say in this extension.
So this is a memo written by our town attorney, Mark Sorrell, dated August 22nd, about the limits of the planning board's review on this matter. The Franklin Planning Board has pending before it an application filed by Brendan Properties pursuant to GL Chapter 41, Section 81W, to modify the original definitive subdivision plan for Cranberry Meadows Estates to permit the construction of an extension to Sunken Meadow Road into Bellingham to provide access to Burton Woods, an approved 28-unit affordable Chapter 40B residential condominium complex. This matter is before the planning board as the result of legal proceedings, a trial in the land court followed by an appeal to the Massachusetts Appeals Court. Franklin residents whose properties abut Sunken Meadow Road, hereafter residents, a fully constructed but unaccepted roadway in the Cranberry Meadows subdivision, filed a lawsuit in the land court challenging the developer's rights to use Sunken Meadow Road as access to the proposed Burton Woods 28-unit affordable residential condominium development in Bellingham. After a multi-day trial, the land court judge rendered a judgment supported by a 43-page decision rejecting residents' claims, accepting only the need for the developer to obtain the Franklin Planning Board's approval of modification of the original definition subdivision plan to permit Sunken Meadow Road, which, as originally constructed and currently exists, terminates in a temporary turnaround, to be extended into Bellingham to provide access for the proposed Burton Woods development. In this regard, the land court judge noted in his decision that the only change to the Cranberry Meadows subdivision will be a short extension of the roadway from the top of the temporary turnaround to the Bellingham town line. The land court judge determined that even though the proposed roadwork was so limited, it still constituted a modification of the original definitive subdivision requiring planning board approval pursuant to General Law, Chapter 41, Section 81W. Based upon that determination, the land court judge noted that the Franklin Planning Board has the authority to review any change to Sunken Meadow Road for the purpose of assuring that the extension of the road into Bellingham is constructed in a manner that is consistent with the existing conditions of Sunken Meadow Road and is otherwise safe. However, having set out that criteria, the land court judge took pains to note the legal limitations on the planning board's review based upon Burton Woods' status as a 40B affordable housing project. The planning board should not deny approval of the extension or impose onerous conditions on such an approval without a sound factual basis that is rooted in protecting the health, safety, planning, or open space concerns of the town. The Massachusetts Appeals Court uphold the land court judge's judgment and approve the analysis contained in his decision. Based upon the land court judge's focus on the limited roadway area involved in the proposed modification, his stated limited criteria for planning board's review, i.e. safe extension to Bellingham of the existing roadway, and his admonition to the planning board that it recognized Burton Woods' legally protected status as a Chapter 40B affordable housing project, it is my opinion that the Franklin Planning Board is limited to reviewing any proposed reconfiguration of the section of Hidden Meadow Road which currently exists as a temporary turnaround, as well as a proposed roadway extension to Bellingham Town Line, and approving same, with only such limited and reasonable conditions as the planning board deems necessary to protect public safety. And then it's closing by the town attorney.
Okay, thank you, Jen. The only recommendation I'm gonna make, and I'd like you guys to deal with Mike and Gary, would be the bonding of the little bit of road work that you have to do in Franklin. That is partial removal of the cul-de-sac, the two wings, whatever site work's required. Make sure that gets a bond for this town to protect the town. Make sure it just goes through Mike and Gary. And obviously set it up with him, okay? Unfortunately, to all the homeowners, the court overruled us. We have no say in this one, unfortunately. This has happened to us in the past. We've gone to court and we've lost, trying to do one of these other subdivisions, so it's unfortunate, but court overrules us on certain things like this through the judicial system, and unfortunately, we don't have any say. So I'm gonna make a motion to approve.
Close the public hearing,
Excuse
Mr.
me.
Chairman.
Yep, close the public hearing for Sunken Meadows, Cranberry Estates definitive subdivision modification.
What?
Correct. We're voting on it. We have no say.
We have no say.
We have no say. The judge overruled us.
You said you could still conduct.
So make a motion to close.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Make a motion to approve the modification of Sunken Meadow Road, definitive modification per the courts in the judge's rulings. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Along with the bond.
Understood, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Voted in, you voted out.
Wasted our time in those 3 hours.
Voted in, you voted out.
Just curious who took the money. No utilities in that easement either, guys. No power, no gas, no electricity.
15 kids under the age of 12 live on that street.
Did anyone listen to anything?
Thanks for tripling the neighborhood.
one listened.
You already have water on
There's
it.
nothing we can do.
That's
We were
not true. It says-
mandated by a judge. Did anyone listen to what we said?
But without reasonable, without
We
reasonable
can't do
cause.
anything.
Where do you
We
get the
were
right to have
we were
this public
mandated by
comment?
the land court. The land court made us do this. We can't do anything.
It said, unless you had facts, you didn't even give any of the homeowners a chance to cite their facts and concerns.
Mr. Chairman, I think that we closed the
Motion.
public
Yep.
hearing and we can't
Done.
discuss this any
Correct.
further, so I make a
Close.
motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's just that.
Hope it's worth the money, give them.
Thank you.